the reports. It says non-public session.
Right, it always has
So-
non-public session when somebody has a non-public. the
Right, so
agenda.
we're moving it off the agenda, but there's nothing right now to go into non-public for, correct? Okay, all right, so we're gonna go to engineering and maintenance services. So, ESL Distributing LLC on-site support and service approval.
Sure, I move,
What's the motion?
I move to, let's see, calling it. I was just calling the.
Authorize the chair to sign that. Authorize the chair to sign.
No, I move to approve, I just am looking for the documentation for it, so just my support in here, just 1 second. Oh, here it is. So I move to approve the service agreement and support and service plan with ESL Distributing LLC at a cost of $1,995 annually as recommended by the Senior Director of Engineering and Maintenance.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
Mr. Coyle?
Yes.
I will vote yes.
Thank you.
Okay, human resources, employee retention and engagement, ARPA project fund approval.
I move to approve the purchase of various gift cards as identified on the accompanying list utilizing category 2.35 of the ARPA project funds. And that's 10, just to clarify, 10 gift cards at a rate of $50 per gift cards to Jimmy K's Diner for January. 10 gift cards worth $100 to Board and Brush in Portsmouth and for the month of February, and 11 gift cards to Axtown in Hampstead at a rate of $70.
Motion's been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, further discussion.
I need to understand what we're approving here. Who gets the 11 cards? I mean, and how we pick Jimmy K's and Axtown, I assume that involves alcohol and axes. Nothing can go wrong there.
I could not tell you, but so what we do is, the prior board had the ARPA funds that came in. There was money set aside for retention and engagement for employees. So the 3 commissioners identified that they would like us to look out at their cities and towns and pick, a different business each month. And what happens is we go and we search for different businesses. Sometimes we're looking at restaurants, sometimes we're looking at entertainment venues. It depends on what that city or town can offer. And we try to find something that would engage an employee. Then once it's identified, we bring that forward to the board for consideration and approval. And then I send out an email to the officials and division directors and ask them to identify somebody within their department that they would like to offer this opportunity as a way of appreciation and engagement from them for something they've done in that particular month or overall. And it usually rotates because we have so many employees in so many departments. So it's up to them to identify. Once they identify, we get the information back and then we send the employee a notification on behalf of their official division director. They're being honored for that particular month for this thing that we're offering. Sometimes employees will accept it and other times they decline it. So it's totally up, and then they find somebody else within their department. Because it's a gift card or something like that, there is a form that they have to sign for tax purposes. So they will have to sign that.
So, who gets to choose? And have we had any conflicts along the way? You got a gift card and I didn't get a gift card. Or is this just so small that nobody really cares? It's just a recognition,
It's a recognition.
like I gave you a new.
So the officials and division directors know that in some instances, some months, there might be something that's come across. Maybe it was on rental assistance that somebody went way, was doing multiple hours over the month and, you know, Chuck decides, you know, hey, this is coming up and it's in my mind, I want to honor that person this month. Next month, it might be something else and somebody else within the department is doing something different and he wants to honor that person. So it's usually the ODD and maybe their supervisors that talk and connect and say, hey, this has come across. Do you have anybody that you think should, you know, get this, you know, appreciation gift?
And you think it's working regarding employee retention and building morale?
From what I get back, the feedback for those that have gotten it, when they have to sign the form, they're shocked, they're surprised, and they're very happy. But
They
the
appreciate
officials
it.
and division directors can speak to it as well.
They absolutely appreciate it, they do. It's only a small token, but if you can say, hey, here's a bowling alley gift certificate for you and your family. You did such a great job stepping up last month, covering shifts or whatever. They really appreciate it, and it's outside the kind of, you know, like, they work for us and we pay them. So it's outside of the customary recognition that you get from your employer. I've had a really good response in our department, they like it.
And it also got a dual purpose. So we're spreading some of those dollars out to local businesses. It's never really a big business. It's mostly a small business and we're recognizing employees. So
And the business, when I went to one of the businesses, which I shared to the commissioners, they were shocked. I explained what it was, and they were so happy that we had considered them to bring business because they had some slow periods. And to know that they had people that were gonna be coming, because I bought 10 gift cards at like $75, so they were gonna have these 10 potential people and their families coming in. They were excited to know that we were doing something like this.
Okay, thank you.
further discussion? Hearing none. Kate, you have, I didn't. You all set? Okay, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu?
Yes,
I vote yes. Exception request, new hire benefits, election deadline.
I move to approve an exception request to the new hire benefits election deadline for a Department of Corrections employee CT as recommended by the Senior Director of Human Resources.
second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Not, Commissioner, on the motion, Commissioner Godu,
yes,
Commissioner Coyle?
Yes,
And I will vote yes. Sign-on bonus, grant writer,
I move to approve a sign-on bonus for the full-time position of grant writer in the amount of $5,000, $1,500 at 4 months, $1,500 at 8 months, and $2,000 at 12 months, as recommended by the Senior Director of Human Resources.
second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle?
I'm a no. I think that the money for grant writers would be better served towards other departments within finance.
Commissioner Godu?
yes,
I vote yes. 3-1. Let's see, sign-on bonus, assisted living.
I move to reinstate the sign-on bonus for 3 positions in assisted living. $5,000 for personal care partner. That's a breakdown of $1,500 at 4 months, $1,500 at 8 months, and $2,000 at 12 months. $8,000 for wellness coordinator LPN. That's $2,500 at 4 months, $2,500 at 8 months, and $3,000 at 12 months. $9,000 for wellness coordinator or RN. That's $3,000 at 4 months, $3,000 at 8 months, and $3,000 at 12 months.
Motion's been made,
second.
seconded. Further discussion? Not on the motion.
Is this, yes, I have discussion. How well does this work to attract employees? So are we, I know we're down a lot of employees. Is this something that's helping us gain people or?
Right now in the market, anything's gonna help us try to get somebody to shift over, but we have had some success with it. Do we have a lot? No, but we do, when we do get them over, they do want the bonus money.
So this money doesn't get expended unless we,
They have
get
to
an
reach all
employee
those,
coming.
right, and they have to, it's pushed out at those push points at 4
Right.
months, whatever.
I think that's well spaced out.
Right. To retain.
Yes.
Right, because you don't want to just give them and then they take off. Right,
Precisely.
no, that's been well thought out. Okay, that's my only comment on that.
Further discussion? Not on the motion, Commissioner Godu,
Yes,
Commissioner Coyle?
Yes,
I'll vote yes. Revised job descriptions, long-term care services.
I move to approve the revised job descriptions for MDS manager, MDS supervisor, medical biller, and program case technician effective January 12th, 2023, as recommended by the Senior Director of Human Resources.
Motion's been made. Do I hear a second?
Second,
And seconded. Any discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu?
yes,
I vote yes.
and Chairman, I'm just gonna bring to your attention, so it says, on F, it says the non-meeting, but
Yeah.
again, these are the
We're
things
moving.
we typically take out of order, just like the,
Thank you.
yes.
So we're gonna go to, long-term care services.
I move to approve the Brookhaven Hospice Agreement and authorize the chair to sign all necessary documents as recommended by the Senior Director of Long-Term Care Services.
Motion's been made. Do I hear a second?
second,
Seconded. Further discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu?
yes,
I vote yes. Rockingham Visiting Nurses Association and Hospice Agreement.
I move to approve the Rockingham Visiting Nurse Association and Hospice Agreement and authorize the chair to sign all necessary documents as recommended by the Senior Director of Long-Term Care Services.
Motion's been made,
second,
seconded, discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Godu,
yes,
Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
I vote yes. State conference approval.
I move to approve an out-of-state conference and travel for a long-term care employee PM to attend the 2023 Healthcare Compliance Academy held in Phoenix, Arizona, March 6th through 9th, at an estimated total cost of $3,100 as recommended by the Senior Director of Long-Term Care Services.
Motion
Second.
made and seconded, discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu,
yes.
I vote yes. Okay, so now we're gonna go to department head updates. And I'm gonna start with Chuck Nickerson.
Mr. Coyle went through several of our items. We, again, if we were to include the 300 cases from Southern New Hampshire Services, we're looking at almost 500 cases that'll be soon in our queue altogether. And I think that number is just gonna continue to go up because the state's, emergency rental assistance program officially ended December. The reason for that call from SNHS on behalf of the state was that even though they had stopped taking applications, they're still processing the ones that they already had in-house. And that's what they're fearful of, not having the money to address those. So again, I didn't really want to give up the county's funds when we have this big unknown of what we're going to have to address, because, for example, even if it's only about $10,000 and that would be rent, clients not going to the full 18 months, even if you just extrapolate 10,000 from the 300 taken on from Southern Hampshire Services, that's $3 million. And most of those people probably go more towards the 18 months maximum that's allowed for the program. So you'd be looking at somewhere over 5 million really, just for those 300. Never mind our own existing increase in numbers. So that's why I kind of said, thank you for the question, but no. We have to worry about what the county has to deal with in the future because, again, we're the only one taking new applications for our residents who need assistance. The state is not,
I think,
unless they're homeless and looking for a hotel.
I think Commissioner Coyle was right on the money when she said it was kind of ironic that we had asked for the CAPS help originally.
Yes.
They turned us down because they were dealing with the state, and then we had to kind of pivot and buy specialized software. And then now they've kind of turned around and asking us for help. It's kind of
Yeah,
different.
it's pretty ironic.
But
Yes.
I think we're in a fortunate place that Rockingham County, I know it's a lot of work up in finance, and I do appreciate all the hard work that you guys do. But I think that we were very fortunate that Rockingham County is the only county right now that actually has this assistance for
But-
people.
it seems like the most significant thing is the way you decided, in terms of the administration of it, by utilizing all of the ERA-1 monies first. I mean, it was a strategic decision that put us in the position we're in now, more than anything else. So, thank you.
Yeah, we didn't just turn in the ERA-1 monies like apparently the state did, just to focus on ERA-2.
Because it's easier.
I understand, yes, I understand it's easier focusing on just one set of guidelines. And the ERA-2 had much more forgiving guidelines. But, you know, that's not the best way to serve the residents that need assistance. And yes, it meant that there would be federal clawbacks of, you know, monies from ERA one and, you know, from some of our monies from ERA two that we haven't even received yet. But that was in the best interest of the, you know, residents of the county. So it's worked out. It has been easy, but I mean, it's definitely, you know, valuable work. Maybe I should reach out or put something together as far as we put some of the, you know, in quotes, I think you see on the New Hampshire Housing website and even on Southern Hampshire Services, I think they have some quotes or, you know, from people who are thankful for getting assistance. Maybe we need to get some of those, you know, obviously without identifying people, but some of those kind of things out there on our website, you know, as far as, you know, some good feedback from people that we've helped out, or even several landlords are very happy too. Because, you know, they have to worry about paying the mortgages and whatnot on those properties too.
Exactly, and the eviction process is so time, I mean, it's months and months, it's a very long process, so, and that, to your point, while the landlord is not getting paid and trying to pay their mortgage, it's like, they can end up getting, you know, it's like being in, arrears that way too, so it really helps a lot of people.
And again, I will bring forward maybe in the next meeting after, as far as a request for additional per diem case technician, this one more focused on really the data entry side of things. So I worked with Allison as far as getting that new job description slightly tailored more for that purpose. Because the individuals that we have, you know, they're great with the people end of it, but it'd be nice to have someone who's really sharp on the technological end of things and getting stuff into Uncork. And it's not the easiest software to work with, let's just put it that way. So it'd be nice to have someone that was better.
Yeah, I might recommend that we have that be more of a full-time, because you've got 2 part-time and Joe's the only full-time. That, because we know it's a temporary position and it will end, but it might serve you well and your staff well to have somebody there more of
Yeah,
a
'cause they'll-
35, 40 hours.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah,
be my
'cause there's a few of us
recommendation.
really
That's what I'm saying. It would give
putting
somebody
another
relief.
time as well.
Right.
I mean, there's a few of us doing case reviews and I mean, there's a lot more than just the per diem hours going into this, but we're making it work. Like you said, you know, we thought we could partner up with Southern Hampshire Services. They said no, because they couldn't serve 2 masters. So they went with the state side instead. I understand. But we were under the impression that they're gonna be, you know, they wanted to work with us and said, then we were told that we're on our own, so. Again, just overall busy with different reporting. There's it's quarter end, so we have lots and lots of different grant or payroll filings that are due for by the end of, between now and the end of January. So I'm working with a few departments as far as with some of the grant filings that are required on a quarterly basis. Those will be done timely. We have a couple of ARPA filings due, American Rescue Plan Act filings due at the end of this month. I'm hoping, I haven't looked into the portal yet, because that's how I do all the filings, is through the portal filing with Treasury. That they give us a chance to do what our estimated loss was for the calendar year, because feds go by the calendar year for this program. What our current estimated loss is for calendar year 2022. Because right now, we have 12, 13 million as far as the losses under the calculation from American Rescue Plan Act monies. And that can be used out of our 60 million towards almost whatever purposes. And so we're allowed to have 4 total years of losses. And I'm thinking, just my estimate, because the feds allow 5% inflationary, you know, adjustment on what the baseline revenues were, 5% over 5% over 5%, you know, over each year's calculation, but technically our revenue has been, when you take away the direct federal components, has either held steady or overall gone down. And so our loss for the calculation of what amount of our 60 million can be used for whatever revenue replacement projects is just gonna go up by that much more. So I would be surprised if our cumulative revenue losses hit like 20 million once we get to doing the 3rd year.
Wow.
So that would allow us, you know, at least 1/3 of our monies, and if things, again, non-federal source continue for the fourth year analysis, we could be looking something more at like 1/2 of our 60 million could be utilized towards whatever. That could be, you know, no strings attached on some of the other building parts, whether it's furnishings or what have you, that we wouldn't have to worry about putting into some other future budget down the road, you know, or just capital fund expenditures. So I guess good news all the way around.
Yeah.
So once, you know, obviously once that filing is done, or it's about complete for ARPA, I'll send along the copy to the Commissioner's office. So you can see what that looks like. It gives a whole breakdown by project under this, and there's many projects going on. Obviously, the biggest one really concerns the municipal building piece that we're using for funding towards, you know, basically the new auditorium over there. So the public meeting place is no longer a nursing home. The sheriff's office, getting registered deeds to actually have some, maybe not be as wide open. Obviously taking care of the overcrowding situation that exists right now in county attorney's office too. And obviously with the community corrections piece is a big component in that building too. So all those portions we're using, we're designating for use as an ARPA project under that. So again, just good news, I guess, with the lost revenue for Fed purposes going up.
Yeah, and on top of that, just as you mentioned, Commissioner Coyle mentioned that the CDBG grant to see if we can gain some extra money for the solar panels, just helps us with the ARPA money, being able to do whatever we else needs to do. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, what's good with that is that's like a shovel-ready thing. So our
Yeah.
plan's already finalized, which makes it look that much better in the eyes of the DOE when Department of Energy, when we go to apply to them for this grant. That,
Right.
hey, we already have everything, plans are set and everything, here you go. And also the state has to utilize 60% of the monies that it's getting under this program towards grants.
Yeah.
To nonprofits and other governments, you know, and governmental units in the state of New Hampshire. They can only use 40% on their own projects. So we can also apply.
Yeah.
For even still towards the solar project, to get other monies towards the solar project too. So, and we're also keeping our eye out for other infrastructure monies too, because there was the big law passed by the feds as well. To hopefully get monies towards water, wastewater projects as well.
Awesome.
And that would offset some of the allocation we had done through ARPA as well, because we had the $2 million allocated towards different water, wastewater projects.
Yes.
So this would free up monies that we could even address more projects.
Yeah. Perfect.
So again, just overall, very busy, but it's all good. Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck. We'll go to Jude.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Also well with engineering and maintenance also, we're also very busy. You may have noticed we worked with Human Resources to install some ice alerts in the driveways. It notifies the, anybody coming in, employees, visitors, when the air temperature is below freezing. And so, they work really well. I keep checking. I've been driving around when the temperature goes above freezing. We've been getting some really positive feedback for it, so it was a workers' company, our risk management folks recommended it, and the grounds guys were really excited to jump on the project. Allison helped us figure out the funding, Chuck helped us, so it's a good project, we're happy with it, a little bit more safety.
It was blue this morning when I walked out.
Was it? Did
Yeah,
you see it?
it was
That's
great.
awesome, great.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. It was kind of fun, because it was like preemptive safety instead of going, the sidewalk's slippery, someone's just called and complained, like it kind of getting ahead of it. It's nice for the guys too. Allison and I took a walk over to Carlisle Building this week, looking for a spot for the mental health clinician. And we think we found a good area. They're gonna be, Extension Services is just gonna notify their folks that they're gonna be reconfiguring some offices, very similar to the work that we did upstairs for your offices. So it looks like a really good spot, and we'll be going forward with that. Hopefully, we'll be jumping on it in the next couple of weeks, as long as we get the green light. Allison's gonna, we'll take care of the room, and Allison will take care of this stuff.
Well, I can speak to how nice the room turned out that your team did over for us. So I have no doubt that the mental health clinician will end up with a beautiful
I
office.
agree. Yeah, thank you very much. Other than that, what else is going on? we did fill one of our open positions. I was talking to Commissioner Turtle with an in-house person, so, you know, our net is still the same. But, the person was happy to move because of the stipend definitely helped. I wanted to make sure that you knew that. We also HR extended an offer to a road service technician that we were really excited about, but it just wasn't enough money. So hopefully, you know, we'll be going into negotiations and we'll see what stuff looks like come July. You know, maybe we'll have something that's a little bit more appealing. The couple of folks that we have brought on have been really good team members. Autumn's doing a great job as far as getting folks screened. So that's been really nice. As far as the new building goes, alteration of train permit is working its way through AOT. That triggers Fish and Game. So the civil engineer this week is gonna call Fish and Game, make sure they were watching for it because they've been very interested because of the bird. Yeah, I know. And I think wetlands will be a piece of that as well, but AOT really kind of drives the whole thing. And that also picks up the solar field and the new well and everything. The folks that are drilling the new well they were going to mobilize today. I didn't see them before I left my office, but today or tomorrow, they should be out there getting ready, you know, doing the testing and getting all the documentation. New Hampshire DES has been really helpful. Sometimes it just is so great to get them on board ahead of time because they've been reviewing like, what if we did this, what if we did that? And they're sort of like, well, if you do it this way, then you'll already have this information in place. So they've been really helpful and I think it's gonna help kind of keep things going forward. Stamp drawings are due by the consultants in the next 10 or 12 days. From there, they will go to third-party code review, commissioning agent, and the New Hampshire State Fire Marshal's Office. So we're getting really close with all of that stuff. So permitting is going and plans are going, so we're getting there.
Dual tracks, I like it.
It's going on.
Anything else?
Nothing. Thank you.
Also?
Yes.
Well, Robin, in IT,
Nothing new this week,
nothing new
keeping
in
the wheels
IT?
turning.
Okay. I'm gonna go to Allison.
Hi, so Autumn has been working on a flyer for the Department of Corrections, which she sent over to John Banville, so we can get it up on the HR Facebook page. We had a meeting on our UKG project with the Sheriff's Office. When the discussion went really well, we're gonna be pulling each of the department heads in at different times to talk about a couple of different things, to get input from them as we work through payroll, HR, time and attendance. Implementation, our project will move over into implementation on January 27th, 23. Ben and Julie are working extremely hard on a lot of these reporting and requirements. It's taking up a lot of their time getting everything ready for that piece. So Chuck and I are very thankful we have those two experts in our departments to move that along. We have, Autumn had done an offer to the emergency rental assistance person, so she's waiting for a confirmation back. We're setting up a schedule for education sessions for the personnel policies and procedures, so information will be coming out in the next week or two. We did the extension tour, like we talked about, the ice alerts are out. And then just so you know, on January 3rd, we had an assistant county attorney, a dispatcher, a housekeeper, and a deputy sheriff that came on board that went through, you know, our new hire orientation. On the 17th, we'll have a Department of Corrections accountant, 3 correctional officers, assistant county attorney, a weekend registered nurse, a universal worker, and an activities aide. And then we're doing an off cycle on the 23rd for another correctional officer, just to keep the correctional officers and any nursing, if we have to do an off cycle to get those people through without having to wait, you know, to a next cycle. So Autumn is in recruitment, has been very busy along with our employee health services, because they're doing all the pre-employment stuff for that to push that through on that and pre-employment physicals. And that's what we have. I will not be in the office next week, but Julie will be in charge. So whatever you need and want to get through, next week is the time for you guys to all do it.
All right,
Just kidding.
very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Allison. Let's go to, now we're gonna go to Zoom land and see Kathy Stacy, Registry of Deeds. Good morning.
Good morning. Just a little heads up. We had a $8.1 million transaction yesterday. in Hampton, New Hampshire, so that was nice. I had a question with regards to the mileage sheets. The mileage sheets are through 2022, and I wasn't sure, Chuck, did the mileage rate go up for 23? Because there's nothing out there, because I would like to do my mileage. And I wasn't sure if I stopped at December 31st, but obviously you need to get that out there so that we can do what we need to do, please.
Yeah, we'll get an updated form out there.
Thank you. Other than that, it's same old business as usual over here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can't see. What's her name again?
Kathy Mason,
Kathy Mason? What the time?
she's, long-term care administration under Jason.
Oh, okay. Kathy.
Hi, good morning. I'm just here to answer questions. I know Jason submitted his long-term care services report. So pretty much all the announcements we have are on that report, the Family Winter newsletter and the compliance program information that we brought forward or earlier for information. So other than that, we're just chugging along over here.
Okay, thank you. Sheriff, good morning, and Major Basher.
Good morning. We continue to be busy over here. We did give a conditional offer yesterday to a new deputy, we're doing the background on him. Otherwise than that, we're pretty well good to go.
Excellent. Major, do you have anything?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna go to Michelle Schmidt. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did. On your second week too, so that's pretty good. No, good morning, everybody. I have kind of just a high level overview for what's been going on in long-term care. Overall, we're doing really well. As Commissioner Coyle mentioned earlier, we do have 2 residents out of the original, I think 16 or 17 that had tested positive in our outbreak, that are still technically on quarantine. But the great news is that they come off at the end of today. So at the start of tomorrow, we will have no residents remaining on quarantine. So that's amazing. We were pretty much able to keep it contained to that 1 unit, and staff illness is also dwindling down a little bit. We had an uptick for a little bit, and even though there still remains to be a lot of different things out there in the community, I do have to say it's getting a little bit better internally, so that's good. I am having a meeting tomorrow for a soft kind of review about possibly opening up F2 again. That is our skilled unit, and moving the residents that are on D1 right now up to that unit, which will allow us to be more open to different kinds of patient needs for admissions up on F2. So hopefully that will help with increasing census. So we will hold that meeting tomorrow and sort of find out what needs to be done prior to us opening that unit where it has been closed for some time. So just to let everybody know, those discussions are starting, but we do not have a reopening date as of right now. And then one more thing about COVID, we are having a mobile clinic January 26th, and that's again open to staff, family, the public. So flyers should be out and about, so everybody should see those and have that information. And finally, over at Assisted Living, they continue to prepare for their survey that is pending anytime, and they're having a mock survey next week, which will be very helpful for them. Any questions?
Questions?
All right,
Thanks,
that's all I
Michelle.
got.
Appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
I do see Catherine Mann. I don't know if Catherine wanted to say anything.
No, I'm all set today. Thank
All
you,
set?
Commissioner.
All right, and then I saved Superman for the very end. Jason Henry.
Nice.
Morning.
Morning. A couple things. Let's see. Tomorrow we had a PTSD study committee for post-traumatic stress and first responders, which is ongoing, and it's done a lot of good work for the state, and even helping change some laws and taking the stigma out of first responders getting help. We are between Officer Evans and maintenance in our dental room, ripped out some stuff, making space for last year. I told you we're getting from the state free machine that will actually, we can do our in-house COVID testing. And with that machine too, we can actually test for strep throat and flu. And right now it's all under a grant from the state at no cost, and that's for inmates and for staff. So that's very exciting. It's been piecemeal coming together. You guys talked about taping, just so you know, Carroll County's been taping for years on the commissioners meeting. And from the Freestare does that, and they puts it all around the world. And I'm happy to tell you that when I was doing medicated assisted treatment back and forth with commissioners, I was trending very well in China on it. So I don't know, just so you know. Delegation member Bob Lynn will be here next week to sit down with me to go over the budget, because this month at the executive committee meeting, they're going to push forward, obviously, the money that we need to continue with the stipends through the end of June. So they'll push it forward to the full delegation to meet in February. So he'll be here actually sitting down with me and going over the budget. I want to say we have been having an uptick in volume in violent offenders. I've had staff members get assaulted recently. Even though our numbers are down, more mentally ill and more violent offenders, which is always concerning. We now have a one-on-one patient again, which is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, one-on-one at the door, which eats up a lot of our staffing. So thank you with the lieutenants. They are and just so you know, they are the last resort. All the officers have to be called first. All the supervisors are called first. And lieutenants and majors are the last one. That's why should be hiring 3, maybe even 4 on the 17th. And there's a few more down the pipeline. We're getting quite a few applications. As we hire more people, those upper echelon people won't be needed to take away the mandated overtime. This is just, it'd be short term for once we get filled. So I do appreciate that. I'm working with the state prison and DHHS. There's some money coming in, about $750,000 to the state for $750,000 each year for the next 5 years. You can use on some opioid stuff. So we're probably gonna look at partnership, because through DHHS, so they're almost going to distribute money to multiple places, and we're in discussions of how we best want to use the money, and which jails are on board to actually be able to partner up. So I just had a preliminary meeting yesterday. Last thing, 2 other things. One, I'm very excited about the sheriff's department, and what they want to get is a machine that will basically be able to tell us what drugs are inside of something. And it's to save us from getting exposed to fentanyl and other things. So I'm very excited about that, because we've had some exposures. I've had exposures at previous facilities when you're looking at stuff, and it could save our first responders' lives. So I'm very excited about that. Last thing I have is there was a meeting yesterday. I call it a meeting, but really from the court. It was just to inform us and not really give us any input from the sheriff's department or us. They informed us that our WebEx meetings will be going away and we'll be taking more bodies in front of the court, which is disappointing, because the past couple of years has worked out very well, keeping people in-house and not traveling them out, exposing them to COVID, other things. The courthouse doesn't have a way to put people separated, because we do classifications here. It was just very disappointing. It's going to be an uptick to the sheriff's department, have to bring people to the court. It's going to be more of an uptick for us to actually manage bringing people out, and especially with the amount of mentally ill have down in processing. So it was disappointing that the court never reached out to us, myself or the sheriff, to even have a conversation. They just had this meeting and basically said, yeah, too bad, so sad, we're doing this. And as of yesterday, all the ones that are being scheduled moving forward who don't have WebEx will be in person. And that's all I have. I don't know if Sheriff's Department wants to talk about that too, because you might see some uptick in possibility of what they need to be able to handle this.
So Jason, did they put in any, did the courts put any air mitigation systems to help with HVAC stuff? Have they done that at all? Or, you know?
I have no idea.
Oh, interesting.
I could speak to that.
Okay. Go right ahead.
There's nothing in the courtrooms,
Nothing?
nothing.
Oh, boy. All right.
I request a 2-minute recess.
Yeah, we're all finished with department heads. I thank everybody for all your hard work
Well,
every day.
we have an exception request. Yep, there's a walk-in.
Okay.
The sheriff had his hand up too.
No, I know, I was just saying
Oh,
because it sounded like you were winding down the meeting and.
Oh, no. Give a lot more. So we're gonna take a minute break here.
We do have Liz Bailey reading now too.
Right.
So I'm gonna take Liz Bailey before we do any new business, old business, I think. She's waiting.
She is waiting.
Okay, so when Steve gets back, we'll do the, we're gonna do the walk through, walking first. That'll be a minute, so,
Are we going to have anything? for you?
and I have some discussion on the new business that I want to bring up, so.
Question, Chair Tom.
Yes.
As far as the recording goes, are you going to establish some sort of a system with when you go into non-public, just pause it and then come, just say you're gonna pause for non-public and then
Yeah.
when you come out of non-public?
Yes,
that you-
definitely.
Yeah.
Thanks for that discussion, because I wanted to bring that up as well.
Recess too, or should
We-
we go during recess?
I think technically, if we're taking a recess, we should be pausing, but
Well, that's one of the.
that's,
Commissioner, we're gonna sign off at the sheriff's office. We have another meeting that we have to go to, but
Yeah,
all
go
the
ahead.
same comments that Jason Henry said on the previous stuff about the brown bag lunch, and we can talk about it more when we meet with you next.
Sounds good, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Commissioner Godu wants to see me after the meeting, so I'm gonna try and stick around and you can call my office behind me. Since I just looked at it.
So we're finished with department head updates, I believe, right? Yeah. We got everybody. All right, we're going to.
New business?
Well, hold on a second. We have, so we have the meeting with Liz is non-meeting, right? So we're not gonna record that.
No.
All right, so let's, we'll go to new business first.
New business, old business.
Yeah.
I received the meeting minutes from 12/22/22. It would seem appropriate that we vote to approve those minutes, or are we gonna continue to table those?
No,
I believe we have a non-public.
we can, if we want to take a moment, you can make the motion. but
You wanna take that up in non-public?
That's up
It's
to,
on-
it's up to you. You can,
It's just the minutes of the meeting, seems,
yeah, no.
I read it, seemed pretty clear to me, but if there's some issue you wanna discuss.
No, I'll second that motion.
so, we can,
You wanna do none?
you can take it up. I'm gonna vote no on the minutes, so
You don't wanna approve the minutes?
I will not sign to approve the minutes, so, but you can,
No,
you guys,
so clarification, it's the minutes that are corrected, right? That there
There
was some additional verbiage that was missing the first time around, so we're including that, correct?
What I read, I got updated minutes, I read them.
Yeah.
I just
So
thought
those-
it was appropriate that we
Approve those.
discuss it. But if you wanna talk about something in private,
No,
we can table this. Okay,
I've mentioned, I believe there's a HIPAA violation in those minutes.
okay, so then I would say we should table this and discuss this in non-public and figure out what action we should take regarding those minutes.
wow, we have a motion on the floor in a second, so,
I made no motion.
yes, you did, you made a motion. And I seconded, so on the motion, that's where we're at. Any further discussion? I have to release my second before you can release your motion. You can't do it unless I remove my second, so. You
I
made a
didn't make
motion,
a motion to approve the minutes. I said that we should discuss it. There was no motion
so.
that I actually made.
You made the
But we
motion.
don't follow Robert's rules, so I guess that
You made,
doesn't,
you made the
that's
motion,
not important, right?
you made the motion, so.
Did I? Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad we recorded it. I'll listen.
Yeah.
I'll be more careful.
So you want to discuss?
I want to discuss this later.
So on the motion, I'm gonna take just for no further discussion. So on the motion, Commissioner Coyle?
What is the motion?
I don't
To
know,
approve the
maybe
minutes of
Commissioner
12/22.
Chercello can enlighten us.
Well, I'm gonna ask our administrator to read back what the motion was.
I don't think that's a proper place to put.
Well, she's taking minutes. She can tell us what he
But
said.
she,
Did you record a motion?
I didn't write it down, no.
Okay, she doesn't have a motion.
Well, there's a motion on the floor in a second, so.
I believe you're incorrect.
I'm
There's
not.
no motion on the floor. I brought up discussion.
You made a motion, then we went into discussion. That's where we're at, so. So on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
No,
Commissioner Godu,
No,
and I will vote yes. So the motion fails. Okay, so
I make a motion to review those in non-public.
second,
you made a motion to review them in non-public. Okay, so on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu,
yes.
and I will vote no. I think it needs to be transparent, so. Without transparency, why even record? But that's okay.
the
So
reason,
motion
It'll be
carries.
transparent once we approve the minutes and the public can read it.
correct. The reason that we are addressing them in non-public and I made the motion is because I believe there's a HIPAA violation.
So the motion passed 2-1, so we'll take them up in non-public. All right, we're going to public comment. Anybody from the public wishes to speak? Hearing none, so we're all set there. All right, now we're gonna go into non-meeting with our attorney, so thank you, everybody, for coming today for the meeting. Appreciate everything you've done.
Wait,
Oh, we have a reception request, sorry. Go ahead with the walk-in.
so did you make a motion to move into non-meeting or are you tabling that? We don't have
No.
a second.
No,
No, what?
you're gonna do the walk-in.
You're asking that I do the walking.
Yes, please.
Do I have a copy of that?
So, yeah, it is right here. Where's this walking? I move to approve an exception request pursuant to 7.3, a new appointment rate for a new hire for EW at a rate of $29 an hour above the midpoint grade of R12.
Motion's been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded.
All right, so would you explain that a little bit better to me?
Chairman?
Yeah, so you're looking for an exception request. You see the numbers below where you have a mid-range, a midpoint range and a max range.
Yeah,
Okay, that's where they're hiring. So they're looking to hire above the minimum. So as you can see, the range is there.
Chairman,
what's the
may I
amount?
just, Chairman,
Yes.
may I just clarify? You said
Yes, go
above the
ahead.
minimum. That's not what the,
Go ahead.
You
Mr.
have-
Brown.
do you want to correct what you made, your mistake?
No, you can do it.
We haven't, there's a hire, chairman said the minimum. You don't need an exception request to hire above the minimum. If it's above the midpoint, that's when an exception request
Yeah.
comes before the board. So the mid-range is the midpoint is 28.23. And this is a request to hire at $29 an hour, which is above that midpoint.
Further discussion?
I understand. Fine.
Okay,
Thank you.
on the motion, Commissioner Godu,
Yes,
Commissioner Coyle,
Yes.
and I will vote yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
before you guys leave, can I ask what exception you guys are talking about minutes in a non-public session? Under what exception under 91A?
yeah, well, I'll let, the Commissioner Coyle made the motion to go into non-public, so I'll let her tell you how that's supposed to be in non-public.
Why is it?
What category are we?
What
are we going to
exception?
It would be a personnel matter.
Not if it's the public, not if it's the public body, it's not.
And it's the public body. Both commissioners approved to go into non-public, so, and that motion carried.
It's,
I'm just curious because I'm looking at the exceptions and I don't see where there's an exception that fits.
There doesn't. But two of the three commissioners approved it.
issue is there's some concern about a HIPAA violation and it seems prudent to discuss that in a non-public session rather than a public session, because if there is in fact a HIPAA violation, then there could be potential liability, and it would seem prudent to flesh that out before, instead of perpetuating a potential liability.
Oh, I accept that explanation. I just don't know where that falls under an exception under the right to know law. That's my only question.
It does not. And there's a dispute whether it is a HIPAA violation or not, so.
I'm not getting into that. That's none of my business. That's not my concern. My concern is whether or not you have reached an exception that's listed in the, under 91A, and I don't think you have. So, thank you.
I agree, thank you. Okay, so let's go into, we're gonna go into a non-meeting at this point in time. Any of the department heads that wish to leave, leave now. Thank you very much for everything you do.
I can't hear you.
Oh.
I couldn't hear half of what you said when you were giving your update between the mask and your quiet voice, which is fine, except maybe it's my hearing, but I don't want to admit that.
Loyal can find me after the meeting.
Okay.
I have a few things I want to check on in the building, so she'll find me.
You wanna bring in Liz?
I'll get a phone number, don't I?
You do?
Yeah, I'll call you. Okay.
Cross the recording.
Oh, yeah, yeah.